everyone. Today I want to talk about why twin flames aren't real. And I know this is probably going to upset a lot of people, but I'm going to do this anyway. I'm sure everyone knows, but I guess I can go over what a twin flame supposedly is. Some people think that a soul splits into two aspects when it comes into the dualistic worlds, and that people are like looking for their other half of another gender or polarity gender that will make them complete. So people are looking for their partner that they claim is their twin flame. I have a long history with this concept, in this lifetime anyway, because unfortunately when I was 16, I fell victim to an online predator who was in his 30s, disgusting human being who lied to me and manipulated me and told me I was his twin flame. So he just fed me all of this like cult leader type of stuff, and as a 16-year-old, which I consider to be like a child, your brain is not developed yet, you're basically like a child, I thought that was cool. So he was just so convincing and confident about it that I just went for it, and he ended up doing horrific things to me. The fact that I'm still alive today is kind of shocking after all of that. He convinced me to marry him. He moved me into isolation. He tried to drug me. I'm not even going to get into how bad it all was, but he was a very sick human being, and the twin flame thing was used to manipulate me, and I know it's used to manipulate a lot of people out there. So first of all, I just want to say it's a very dangerous concept, because it makes you think that no matter what someone does to you, that it's justified because they are some kind of spiritual counterpart. Right away, I have a very bad experience with this concept, but it's deeper than that. I mean, putting that aside completely, I have my own spiritual experiences. I remember many of my past lives, and I know I was both male and female in a lot of them, and not in a way where like I am a naturally feminine soul, and if I incarnated as a man I was still feminine. Like, no, I was a masculine man and a super feminine woman from what I remember. And I know from what I learned in Eckankar and from what I've seen from soul travel experiences, that soul is not a gender. It is a spark of God or spirit, the essence of that, and it is both of these aspects. So it's a soul is a whole complete being, and you can have many different experiences when you incarnate. You can be a man and a woman and anything in between, and there's not another you out there in the opposite gender. But for people who believe in that, I guess I'm just giving my opinion on it, but I've only ever seen really toxic stuff and delusion around that concept, so that's just my opinion about that. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that twin flame universe documentary, and it's really scary and sick that what they're doing to those people, and that people fall for that. Maybe their followers don't have much experience with actually having the internal experiences out of body or transformative inner experiences before they link up with those people who run that cult. So they're highly vulnerable to manipulation, which is scary when people take spiritual concepts and use them for their own selfish purposes. So once again, with soul being a complete whole being on its own and not splitting up into different genders, I understand when some people feel very connected to their partners, like in a deeply spiritual way. And my theory on what that is, or what has come to be the most accurate description of what that is from my experiences and my research and things I found are, and things that people tell me, and just observing life, giving people readings, doing energy work on people, and from having communication with deities, is there are we have soulmates. I do believe in soulmates, but not that they are literally us, but soulmates as described in there are two authors, and I'll link these two authors and their work. Michael Newton and Brian Weiss, and they're both psychiatrists. Brian Weiss was Harvard educated, very analytical, left brain kind of doctor. And both of these psychiatrists accidentally hypnotically regressed their patients into this stage in between lifetimes when souls are doing their life reviews and planning out their new life that they're gonna have. Both of them say every single patient described the same thing that happens, where souls have soul circles and soul groups that they incarnate with, and these are souls that have kind of like a similar energy signature or are on a similar trajectory, and they incarnate together and play circumstances off of each other, and they take turns in different roles, and they learn off of each other, and they develop together as a group. So if you feel a deep connection with someone, it could be that they're in the same soul circle, and before you set up your life here on earth, you made an agreement with the souls in your soul circle, or maybe like a neighboring soul circle, that you're going to find each other and meet and have a lifetime together and learn from each other, both hard lessons and good lessons. But these authors also described that maybe one of the souls in the soul circle can evolve out of that one and move on to another one. It's not like a permanent thing. Time is different there, of course, but maybe after a long while of incarnation and gathering experiences, they evolve away from each other. And that is, I think, what people are feeling when they are deeply connected to someone. But it's not static, it's not permanent, it's not you in another body. So I just hope people don't fall victim to these kind of theories. And so there is a period of the history of Eckankar, an unfortunate concept that Paul Twitchell introduced in this one of my favorite Eckankar books called the Eck-Vidya, Ancient Science of Prophecy, Life Cycles of Men, Nations, and Planets. And it's like one of my favorite Eckankar books, I think, because it's a bit esoteric, and I'm really into all the esoteric, like occult stuff. There's a chapter in this book, chapter 5, it says the Eck-Vidya theory of time twins, and he goes on to describe that there are twin flames. He talks about it for a whole chapter, and later on, Harold Klemp, if you buy this book now, there's like a disclosure or something on the chapter that they've let go of that theory. And the reason why they let that go is because, well, I don't have an official statement from them or anything, but I know what my mom told me when she was an Eckist in the 70s or 80s in Europe. She said that she saw a lot of Eckists abandoning their families and their children and their wives because in Eckankar it said that there are twin flames, and they thought that they had met this person, and so that was their excuse to just abandon their families. And I think that must have been happening a lot, so they got rid of that theory, and there's nothing else in Eckankar that Harold wrote saying that we have twin flames. And I don't know why Paul Twitchell wrote that at the time. I don't know, but I just want to bring that to people's attention because it seems the only thing that comes out of this is pain in the long run and manipulation. And it doesn't always start out that way, but it can get really toxic. It's really unnecessary. You can have a deep bond with someone and not be obsessed to the point to where you think that they're you and you can't escape them, or they'll always be a wound in your heart, and then you excuse that because they're your twin flame. Like, everything inside of me is like, I don't go with that. That just doesn't work for me. What do you guys think, though? Do any of you have any experience with this? Have you ever thought one person was your twin flame and then realized they weren't, and then you thought someone else was? What do you think? Am I just being overly pessimistic, or I'm really curious because I know a lot of people who watch these videos are advanced, like spiritually advanced, so I'd love to hear your opinions on this. And I think I would like to get a message from Aphrodite concerning this. So I'm going to see if anything comes through. Aphrodite, would you like to speak to anyone on this theory? Of ancient Greece, of ancient Europe. Come through, speak to me on this. What I'm getting is that this is a misrepresentation of scripture. It's a purposeful and deliberate way to mislead people into thinking they are the result of their surroundings, that their hope and their fears lie in outside forces, that the imminent control over their futures and their happiness is the result of a mysterious force pulling them here to there in the hopes of catching themselves. It leads away from self-love. Love the self to be whole. Love self so much that you take in all love offered. I am surrounding you with precious hope of understanding that the graceful ways, the pure streams, the deliverer, the boundless ones teach you inner wholeness, and let others be as if there is one to play with, mirrors and transition points and a softening of the heart towards oneness. There are many cells and gathered ways of being. There are hopeful ones and sullen ones, and they come together and they break apart and they muse and they foretell, and they all know that one day we come together again, and this knowing is manipulated and constructed into error and labeled and mislabeled for the use of those who are playing at roles of power. So many priests turned evil and used the knowledge for their own selfish gains, and misapplied knowledge and taught the wrong knowledge and led many astray, and corrections can come later, but the real way to know is through your own inner challenge. When you feel something is not quite right, it is a challenge from the inner. Listen to that voice. There is an emotion that mocks the heart. It feels delightful with the tinge of heaviness at the leaving of it, because you know it will leave. It always leaves. And it is that which leaves that is the corruption, because the heart, the soul that you are, never leaves, never splits, always is. So that element that is leaving is mislabeled as a separated you. But really, it's a corrupted desire for an element masquerading as something it is not. To put hope into another can feel freeing, like yes, this is why I am feeling so empty, because this other one is lost and hidden from me, and I only need to find him or her or them. But the truth is, the separation is not a lack of oneness from another. The separation is the spiritual distance from truth in a world so dark, filled with so many corrupted files, that coming to the true answer can feel like a needle in a haystack. You can search for something that was never the answer, and when you find out that it wasn't the answer, you must start over again, searching for the wrong thing, and it is a sad thing to see. But it's also a bit flattering, because everyone wants love. As Aphrodite, that is what I bring to people, and not the one I am speaking through. She knows she is not Aphrodite, and if you do not believe in channeling, I hope you can still take in the message. She's a humble one, and this is hard for her sometimes, but it's a gift that she will talk about later. Back to the separation, and it's flattering that most of the world is acting to find love and pleasure and feels. These things will be their wholeness. Whether they mentally rationalize that or not, it's a pull, but it's misguided. And imagine if the priests and the priestesses could give the real knowledge if they did, if the ones who have the microphones spoke the truth. Imagine where humanity's heart would lead. Most of the actions committed today would no longer be. So I am saying, many who have been in power, many are guiding people to the wrong information. And you just have to look at your lives to see it is not true. When you have the truth, it transforms you into a being of such immeasurable, soft light, which I cannot find the words to say. But it doesn't lead you to heartbreak and pain and bargaining and denial and anger and separation and blame. And that is where most of you find yourselves. So the doctrines circulated among you are corrupted. The uncorrupted truth is in the heart, not in the emotion, not in the fear, not in the separation. It is one with you. It can be easier to put your hope in another, but only easier for a moment until realizing that's not the way. The desperate need and pull is a tell that this place is not your home. This is a land of pulling apart, but not from yourself. Desires are corrupted. Solutions are the problem. Nearly everything is backwards. And if you hear someone standing over you, ordering you, if you read a temporary quick fix that feels right in the moment but leaves you with the feeling of question and doubt, you're miscalculating. The answer is so easy and so right in front of you that no calculation the mental state can manifest will be the answer. Do you understand that you nearly cannot understand? You can know it though. In love is a placeholder. In fear is a driver. Neither are the answer for what you truly seek. Access the origin point within before all of this began. And in this sacred flame is all divinity you could ever wish to know.